In this video, we're going to talk about how to use your energy and presence to instantly attract girls. First of all, I'll talk about how I learned how to do this, and then I'll explain exactly how this works so that you can do it for yourself. So I approach girls, like that's the way that I always meet women. I've never used dating apps or anything like that. There are many reasons why I do this, mostly because it's like a hardcore method of training where you have to face your fears and face the possibility of rejection. And it's something that if you can do it, it gives massive results over time, but also just for purely practical reasons. Because in my opinion, it's absolutely the best way to meet girls, especially if you want to date the most attractive girls that you possibly can, as opposed to like Tinder, for example, where you basically have to lower your standards to have any sort of success. And I'm not going to get into all the details about this right now, but there's one extremely important thing that you can get from approaching that you can't get from any other means of meeting girls, which is a massive quantity of direct and immediate experience and feedback where your success is based completely on your confidence, your presence, your energy, and what you actually say and do in the moment. Because when you first meet her, she has no idea who you are, and so there's no status or any pre-existing judgments that go into her assessment of you. It's just you as you are right then and there. So it's completely pure, just you and her in the moment. But also, because she doesn't know you, if you can't immediately captivate her and draw her in, and basically if anything is off, especially in the very beginning, then she's just gone. Like she's just going to leave. So because of this, you are forced to fine-tune everything and make adjustments and calibrate until you get the feel for being able to basically instantly attract her, and then maintain that attraction as you simultaneously start a conversation and do all the things that you need to do in order to move things forward. So basically, you have to be extremely on point in order to be successful. And you learn how to do this through direct experience. It's kind of like how recently there was a major upset in UFC fighting where Sean Strickland won the middleweight championship. He was a massive underdog, but he completely dominated and won the fight. But the interesting thing is the way that he trains, which is pretty much just sparring. Like he spars way more than any other UFC fighter. And if you watch breakdowns of the fight, they talk about his insane reflexes, his ability to see everything coming and respond in the moment to everything that's happening with crazy defense and hardly even getting hit at all. All of this comes from fine-tuning everything in minute detail as a result of his massive amount of sparring experience. And when you go out and approach girls, it's kind of like the social equivalent of sparring, where you throw yourself right into high pressure situations and you have to be completely present and respond to everything with quick reflexes in the moment. And when you do this, there is also literally a kind of battle going on underneath the surface between you and her, which is called a frame battle, where it's your frame of reality versus hers, and you need to win the frame battle and sort of draw her into your world in order for her to be attracted to you and want to keep talking to you and move things forward. And I talk about this in more detail in other videos, but the point for now is that your ability to actually attract her and captivate her interest and make things happen depends on your ability to think clearly and respond to everything in the moment. But the most important thing by far is the energy that you bring into the interaction. Everything depends on this, including your ability to think clearly and freely express yourself and start a conversation and everything like that. But these things are actually only just the surface. What's more important is this sort of unspoken attraction and connection that's going on underneath all the words. If you have this kind of connection with her, then it almost doesn't matter what you say. She'll just be sort of sucked into your overall presence and want to keep talking to you. But without this underlying connection, she's just basically not going to be interested in you at all. So this is absolutely the key, and not just with approaching, but with meeting girls and dating in general. But specifically with approaching, this starts right from the very first instant that you start talking to her. So a lot of times, like if your energy is off, she'll just instantly reject you, like not even acknowledge your existence, just kind of ignore you. But if you're good at this, then it can almost be like an instant hypnosis where you immediately command her attention and draw her in. And you can develop a feel for this where you're exerting a kind of magnetic, attractive force that has an influence over the way that she feels. And this might sound like some sort of mystical power, and it kind of actually is, but it's also something that I'm sure everyone has experienced before. Just to give an example, there was one time recently when I was in Bulgaria, and there was a guy playing guitar on the street, and as I walked past him, he had like a huge smile on his face, and he was like totally into the music that he was playing, and he looked like he was just really enjoying himself. And then he looked over directly at me and made eye contact with me and like kept smiling with this huge smile as he continued to play. And the emotion that he felt was contagious. Like it spread to me, and I couldn't help but start smiling and almost laughing. Like I started feeling happy myself. This is the kind of transfer of energy and emotion that is necessary to draw a girl in, where you give her positive emotions and feelings and make her feel good, and then she just naturally wants to keep talking to you. And then from there, over the course of your interaction with her, you need to calm down this energy and deepen this underlying connection. This is what will actually lead to sex, and it all stems from this underlying energy between you and her, right? But all of this is easier said than done. So for example, if you feel afraid, or if you're really nervous, or if you're kind of shut down and suppressed, it will destroy your ability to do this. Like you just won't be able to do it. And especially when you're approaching, because the pressure of the situation can overwhelm your system and kind of like scatter your consciousness into oblivion and make it very difficult for you to even think of anything to say at all. So what you need to do is sort of reconsolidate and gather all this nervous energy, and rather than let it take over you, you sort of contain it within yourself and harness it and channel it into the interaction. Then you'll be able to maintain a sharp conscious focus and calm down your energy and have a calm, composed force of presence that just naturally attracts girls and draws them in. And obviously, this is kind of hard to explain, but it's something that you can get a feel for through experience. But in order to actually be able to do this, you need to go through a process of acclimatization, where basically through repeated practice, you keep exposing yourself to these kinds of high pressure situations. And then over time, your system will adapt to the pressure so that you can maintain your state and composure. And if you extend this over a prolonged period of time, then you basically build up a force of magnetism inside of yourself, so you can basically overpower all the pressure of the situation and the pressure that you feel from facing an attractive girl, so that you can have a naturally attractive aura and presence that comes from within yourself. And once you have this, you can also bring it into the rest of life. So you have a kind of magnetic influence over the world around you wherever you go. And again, this might sound like some sort of esoteric mystical power, because it kind of is, but it is also very real. And hopefully I've explained this in a way that at least makes some sort of sense. Because if you can grasp what I'm saying here, this is the key to being able to attract girls and be successful with women. And you don't necessarily have to approach girls in order to develop this. That's just kind of like a high intensity training where you are forced to develop it in order to be successful. But in general, just by meeting and dating and having experiences with girls, you can also develop the same thing. And actually, the first step to tap into this and start developing this kind of magnetic power is with eye contact. Now, I'm not going to get into all the details right now, but if you're interested in going a lot deeper and building up this kind of force inside of yourself, step by step from the ground up, then you can click on the link in the description where I teach all of this in a lot more detail. And other than that, I will talk to you in the next video.